What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Tale of the Tape. It's your boy Craig, and we're here with
Mike Johnson.
And we're here to talk another week of UFC. This past week we had what would have been the best UFC we've seen in a long time. I mean, action-packed.
Yeah, I would say so. It's so stacked from the beginning and end. Prelims, main card, main event. It's fantastic.
It was just an amazing night of events. UFC 239, Jones versus Santos. It was Saturday, July 6th at 10 p.m. at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. And we're just going to hit this right away and talk about the very first fight. I actually missed the first two, but the first fight was Julia Avila versus Pani Kianzad. And the victory goes by decision to Julia Avila. Did you check out the highlights of that fight?
I did. She, used her striking like we know she can. That, like we said, going into it, and she outlasted and got the decision.
Well, that's good for her. She upgrades her status from 5-1 to 6-1. So that was a good night for her. After that, we have Ismail Navred, I don't know, whatever his name is.
Nardayev
versus Chance Rencontre. And this was also another decision fight. Goes to Chance Rencontre. And he improves his record to 14-3. What'd you see from that fight?
I like Chance in this one. I called him for this win. Yeah. He looks solid, and another decision in the bag.
Yeah, I think we both had the first two going to the winners. So that was the first two fights right there. Now we get into the fights that I actually caught. Edmund Shabazian going up against Jack Marshman, and this fight ended pretty quickly, going to submission. What'd you think about the performance?
Knew Shabazian was going to use that boxing. He had the clear advantage going in. Didn't exactly think it would set up the submission, but take the win how it comes.
Exactly. And this fight, there was a lot of animosity between these two fighters. It looked like it was going to be a really exciting fight. And not that a short fight isn't exciting, but he really just used his boxing to get Marshman down, and then went for that rear naked choke. Bing, bang, boom, it was over before Marshman knew it began. So that was a good fight for us. Shabazian now goes to 10-0. So that's a pretty impressive record. He's got to be fighting a ranked guy next.
Yeah, anytime you get double digits without a loss, that propels you high into be getting stoppages in the first round. He's got to see a ranked fighter.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see this guy fight. He looked really good, really sharp. So we'll see what happens with him in the future. But next on the card is Alejandro Perez, and he fought Sung Yangdong, and this was also a quick and a lot of quick victories in this fight.
Yeah, a lot of the stoppages were definitely quick ones. Some fighters just had really good game plans coming in, and executed perfectly.
Yeah, so this was a first round TKO. I know I had Alejandro Perez winning this. Do you remember? Did you choose?
I don't remember who I chose for this because I wasn't sure of either fighter. But I don't want to claim victory.
Well, I was wrong about this one. First round TKO, very impressive. Sung Yangdong advances to 14-3. So I think we're going to see him fighting some more high level talent in the future.
Absolutely, this could earn him a ranked opponent as well. 14 wins and. Coming off of stoppage wins always propels you high.
Absolutely, it was just a very, very impressive performance from Sung. Next on the list was a fight I was very much looking forward to, and initially I wasn't impressed, but once I heard more, I became more impressed. Claudia Gadelha versus Ronda Marcos, and this one goes to decision. What'd you think?
Well, I understand what you mean. It was a reserved win for Claudia. She didn't put that same aggression that she always uses, but it was a smart win.
Yes.
She definitely dominated in a fashion. Ronda showed some signs here and there, with her striking attack. The grappling, they seemed to stay away from. It was like the wrestlers kind of canceled each other out.
They had one attempt, and it was a stalemate. So.
Right. You know, so they were happy to just stand and bang the whole time.
Yeah.
But Marcos couldn't find the range. Gadelia, you know, put on a masterful striking, you know, performance.
Yeah, she's now working with striking coach Mark Henry, and it shows she definitely was a lot more crisp in her attack. She definitely was more patient. She did say, you know, she went from being a brawler to now using her head and making more accurate strikes. The thing I liked about Ronda was that, you know, she had her moments of explosiveness.
Absolutely.
Where you didn't know, where she kind of put you in a place where you didn't know what was going to happen in that fight. In some, you know, they gave Claudia a unanimous decision and they gave her every round. And I did think Ronda did get a round from her.
I agree. I think we talked about it during the fight that we were a little upset with that. But I think it was maybe more that we weren't used to seeing Gadelia so reserved.
Yeah, maybe we just expected so much more from her.
But it was a smart fight for her. And, you know, with the new camp, you know, coming in your first fight with a new camp has got to be a little jitters, a little nerves, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, because now she's a whole new fighter.
You got to work some things out. You got to figure things out. So, you know, I think it was a good performance for her.
All right, and then with more news on that fight, I wanted to get your side of this. So I don't think she said it during the fight, but I know after the fight, in the post-fight interview, she says she wants a third fight between her and Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
Wow.
And I think that, for me, that makes sense. You know, that's her biggest rivalry. And now that she's improved her cardio and she's improved her striking, what do you think? I think that when it comes to boxing, pure boxing, Joanna has an advantage almost over every strawweight fighter. Do you think Claudia Gadelha puts up a better performance?
I think, you know, a better performance would probably happen. It would be real hard for her to catch up to Joanna's level of striking. You know, no matter how long it really takes. You know, she is a base grappler, you know, at the base of her style.
Correct.
No matter how many years she works on the striking. But, you know, I think mentally she's probably in a better place as a fighter than Joanna is now. She knows she's improving, whereas Joanna might feel like she's, you know, reached a plateau or declining. So, yeah, I think that's a very different fight if they mix it up. Plus, that's the only person that's handled her, you know, dominated her like that. So,
well, because the only other fight she lost the only other fight I seen her lose was against Jessica Andrade, who is now the champion. And I think that, like I said, I'd like to see another fight between the two of them. You know, Joanna's coming off, I think, a 3-fight losing streak. So I think she'd want to take this fight believing that no matter what happens, she has the advantage over Claudia. I would like to see how it goes for either one of these guys.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's a lot to lose for either of them in that fight. You know, Claudia couldn't lose to her again. That would, you know, stain her career big. And Joanna, I think that would be maybe the end of her career.
Yeah. And what's weird is, like, because I agree with you, like, to lose 4 fights straight, like, you went from championship to not being able to win a fight. And but what sucks is, like, it's against the highest level of competition.
Yeah, it is.
So either your career ends or you become a hump fighter, the girl you have to fight to get the title shot. So yeah, it's definitely a tough road for both ladies. But that's a fight I think could be a main event of a fight night.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I would be impressed by either woman to even take that fight because there's so much on the line for both of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's a fight to look forward to, so we'll see what happens. Next on the card, we had Marlon Vera. He went up against Noeline Hernandez, and this was another really good fight. Noeline came in on short notice to replace a fighter who got injured, and the thing for me was that, you know, in the first round, Vera starts off strong, but then Noeline comes in and just flips the script on him. This was an impressive fight.
Yeah, Vera came out, you know, tried to, you know, impose his will with the grappling like he always does, and Hernandez was in trouble early. Yeah. And but second round, he came out and flipped the script with the striking, found his range, realized he was the better striker.
Yes.
And started implementing his game plan, and
he had him on the ground dropping some bombs on him.
He was dropping some big ground and pound on him. I always feel like a good boxer translates to a good ground and pound too, but he found himself in deep water against a good submission specialist. But I think, Vera landed that great knee heading into in the second round, I believe he said.
Yeah, it was in the second round, correct.
And heading into an exchange, looked like Hernandez, he was out of position, and he put his head down to try to shoot in because he seen the knee coming, but he ate it right across the jaw. And it didn't go to sleep, to his credit.
Yeah, to his credit, he didn't go to sleep.
He was really hurt and fell right into the submission.
And it was crazy. I was really impressed with that knee because it was like you said, off of an exchange. He hits the knee and lands almost into full mount, little bit of ground and pound, and it was like he fell into the rear naked. Absolutely. I felt like it was a very beautiful three-part transition into three separate moves to end that fight. I was really impressed with the way he pulled that off, but more impressive to me was Hernandez coming in on short notice and then impressing in that fight.
Absolutely. He against a quality opponent,
a very quality opponent. And during that ground and pound, I thought he was going to finish the fight.
He had him in serious trouble. There was a time where I almost thought that two more of those in a row, it would have been
the ref would have came in.
Ref would have had to stop it. You know?
Because, he didn't waste a single punch in that ground and pound. I was extremely impressed, which makes me excited to see this kid's next fight and future fights.
Oh, yeah, especially, being the late stand-in. I always enjoy to see that because it always takes guts. And to perform well, I think even in a late stand-in fight, puts you in good spot for, your next fight, whether you won or lost.
Exactly. So, with that being said, now we're up to the main event of the prelims. Gilbert Melendez against Arnold Allen. And if you weren't shocked, then I was shocked enough for both of us on the performance of Arnold Allen. Tell me what your thoughts are.
It's an incredible performance by Arnold Allen. I think the only reason that Gilbert Melendez wasn't stopped is because of the quality and veteran experience that he had, because he took so many shots. He couldn't get any grappling exchanges started. He couldn't even get inside the range of Allen. It was masterful striking performance by Allen. Yeah,
I felt like he put on a clinic in this fight. I went into this fight thinking it was going to be the Gilbert Melendez show. I thought his veteran abilities were gonna overwhelm Arnold Allen, and I felt like it was the exact opposite. Just raining punches at will, keeping him just inside of his range, so that way, Melendez had no answer. It was crazy.
My favorite part about what Allen did is he was trying out things. You could tell he wanted to see what worked. He was trying new things in his game, and every single thing landed. He was super confident, not overconfident, super comfortable, and in there against a veteran. I called Gilbert for this one too.
Yeah, me too.
I thought the veteran experience would get him through, but
I definitely had Gilbert. I didn't really know too much about Arnold Allen.
Well, we do now.
But we know that this guy is a true fighter, and he's definitely going to be in title contention real soon. I feel like this kid has all the weapons.
Huge featherweight.
Yes.
I was blown away by the size of him at 145 pounds.
Yeah, I don't know. This fight was super impressive.
And it proved his gas tank was going 3 rounds, and he didn't seem to be out of gas at all.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I got to give credit to Gilbert Melendez's chin, man, because the amount of strikes he took to not go down and not get finished was impressive in itself. But I look forward to seeing who Arnold Allen's next opponent will be.
Yeah, and hats off to Arnold Allen to not overdo it and be smart and not go too much to try to, stop him. It was a quality win.
Very quality. So more in the future from Arnold Allen. Definitely a guy to watch out for, and his fights should be impressive in the future. Next fight was an awesome fight to watch. A lot of excitement. And the ever so angry and ever so crazy Diego Sanchez versus Michael Chiesa. This fight was just unexpected. Diego Sanchez will never disappoint you when he enters the octagon, but I think sometimes because of how long he's fighting, people sometimes tend to forget that, and I put myself in that boat. I see Diego Sanchez on the card, and if I really know who the fighter is, I think it's a done deal. And I thought Chiesa was going to make quick work of him, and that was just not the case.
No, Diego's still got a lot left in the tank. It's weird to me with Diego. He's fighting at welterweight now. But he's always kind of been in between classes to me, like in between lightweight and welterweight. He's not big at 170 pounds.
No.
And it's hard for him to cut to 155. So, he's usually giving up strength and power overall to his opponents. And that was clear in this fight. Chiesa was way bigger than him, way stronger than him, way fitter than him. But, Diego's heart and grit and his fitness, he can go all day, all night.
But I don't want to take anything away from his just natural ability to, like, Michael Chiesa actually said it, like his ability to shrink himself into a position that makes him impossible to submit. It's not like we laugh about the moves he was making in the octagon, but those moves were keeping him in the game.
I mean, how many times did Chiesa have him in a dangerous submission attempt, and one wrong step and he gets put away? He's riding his back a few times when it's kind of comical to see him throwing back elbows at Chiesa's legs.
At his knee.
At his knee, But,
oh, man.
But how much of that, bothered him just enough to keep him from submitting him, And he just never stopped, never quit. Chiesa looked fantastic, though.
Yeah,
I think he's going to make some big waves in the welterweight division. I
agree with you. I really liked what I saw from Chiesa. He was very impressive. And Diego Sanchez, like you said, there's no quit. And, it's like constant movement. It's like he's a flyweight, with his ability to move around and and he's just so aggressive. And his when they're announcing him and he's just got this rabid dog look on his face, man. Diego Sanchez is a true character, and
it's nostalgic to watch him, because we've been watching him so long. You always enjoy his fights, always enjoy his character. He gets so intense.
Yeah,
he's an emotional guy. It shows, and he fights with his heart.
Yep. He's a true fighter.
So it comes out.
Yeah, he's a true fighter. I no longer
foaming at the mouth while Buffer is calling his name out.
Yo.
Yeah.
That was so wild, man. So wild.
He keeps you smiling.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's a true performer. And his fights, I always look forward to seeing him fight because you never know what to expect. And that was a good fight. It goes to decision. Michael Chiesa takes that victory. I mean, Chiesa, he takes the victory.
A deserved victory.
Yeah, definitely deserved victory.
Sanchez made him work for it,
but it was definitely the Chiesa show.
Yeah.
So next onto the card is another big surprise fight, and that's Jan Blachowicz going up against the model Luke Rockhold. And all I could say is maybe it's time to stick to modeling.
Perhaps keep it to the catalogs, Rockhold. I don't know. A great win by Blachowicz. I like him, the Polish fighter. He's a cool guy in his interviews too, and he's good at adapting. Rockhold looked really good in the first round. Looked like vintage Rockhold. He was coming out with a power kickboxing style. He wanted to put 1-2 straight down the middle. He wanted to throw high kicks, but he started telegraphing, getting a little one-dimensional, and only doing that. He looked a little like Mirko Krokop. Just throwing the straight left hand and just throwing the left high kick. And it was working in the first round, but
no, it was all in the first round.
Blachowicz, early it was working. But Blachowicz, started figuring things out. And that's what I like about him. He switches up.
Yeah.
He hits. He's not the most pretty striker. He's a little
But
wild.
effective.
But hits real hard. And he'll try different stuff. And he was realizing that Luke, which I always thought was a problem for Luke, is when he disengages from a clinch, he's always got his hands down. Or after he throws a kick, he always has his hands way down. And out of the clinch, from an exchange, Blachowicz slipped in the hook, and that was good night.
Yeah, it was a beautiful knockout. But one thing to me is that I noticed it in the Michael Bisping fight, and I really noticed it in this fight, is I feel like Rockhold looks like a lazy fighter in the octagon. Like, it looks like he doesn't necessarily care to be there. It's almost as if he might be a little drunk. I don't know, but he definitely did not look focused in the octagon. And you're right, man. He gets away from the clinch, arm straight down, gets rocked with a right, and then an uppercut. Yeah. And the best is when he hits the ground and kind of pops up like, what the heck just happened? It looked like a cartoon character, man, like straight out of a comedy. It was so hilarious. And then Blachowicz just comes with one more bang to the face and puts him to sleep. And the whole time after the first knockdown and then after the knockout, it looked like he looked comical, like he should be a comedic actor, because his facial expression was priceless.
Yeah, I think that one dimension that he's so good at, that power kickboxing style, like I said, like a Mirko Cro Cop. He's got the straight left hand, he's got the big kick in the left leg, but he doesn't try to mix up more. He doesn't try to find different angles. He doesn't. He's just, thinks that's enough.
Yeah, I think he's past his time in fighting. I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen an improvement since.
No.
Since he beat Chris Weidman and took the belt.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him get any better.
No, he really has not improved, and I can't see him fighting past today. Past this event. I think he almost stained the main card by not being, put. I feel like the Gilbert Melendez Arnold Allen could have took that place of that fight, and it would have been more exciting. So I don't look forward to seeing another Luke Rockhold fight. I used to be very impressed by him, but now.
Yeah, I could see him stepping out for sure. Like you said, it's always questionable what his motivations are to fight, because he doesn't seem too interested.
Correct.
He doesn't seem to love it like most champions do.
It's just what he knows how to do.
Right. It's just what he happens to be good at, because he's been doing it his whole life.
Yeah. Maybe it's time to pick acting. You're a good-looking guy, man.
I think so.
Get on the big screen and shoot the guns.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
Now on to the best show in UFC. Jorge Masvidal versus Ben Askren, and we all saw Jorge taking this fight, but nobody saw what was to unfold in the octagon when the bell went ding. This was super impressive, perfectly timed, the most amazing finish I've ever seen in the UFC. What are your thoughts?
Fastest knockout in UFC history. I can't say enough about it. We all, like you said, had Masvidal winning this, and
with his hands.
Right, definitely,
with his hands.
Absolutely, and
whoo! Look at that, man. That's just brutal.
I seen the knockout coming maybe later. I knew Askren could take punishment. I knew he was going to be okay with taking punishment. He's seen the knee coming.
Yeah.
And he puts his head down into it to take him down. He's done that time and time again against opponents, taking a big shot and pushing through for the takedown. And as long as he gets top position, he doesn't care. But there's no pushing through that shot.
No, man. What I loved was, like, you could see from the moment they finished announcing the fighters, Masvidal steps back, hands behind his back, leans against the cage, and he got this knowing smile, like, I got you. And then comes off the cage to his right, and then boom, right at him, man. And when that knee connected, we were together, man, and that was the biggest shock of the night. Made us explode.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the house exploded. All of us that was watching it. I'm sure everybody's house that had people over, every bar, everywhere. I mean,
exploded after this contact, man. And you know what? I just wanna set something real clear. If you watch my show, if you watch UFC, like after he knocks him out, he lands 2 more bombs. And, you know, sometimes, in some circumstances, I might be like, you saw the dude was knocked out, let it go. But in this instance, no. He needed those punches to his face just to make it clear that you messed up. You know, you ran your mouth, you was disrespectful, and the ref didn't break it up.
Right.
And by right, you know, until the ref breaks it up, you got to keep going. What if he did wake up?
Yeah, absolutely. And my thing when it comes to, you know, the bad blood with the words going back and forth, you know, a lot of it is cool with this, you know, to hype up a fight and set up a big money fight. However, when you're being very derogatory towards a person, you know, it gets you in a certain way, you know. And I can understand with George, you know, like throw a couple extra as long as, and it's not after the referee stopped. As soon as the referee touches him, he stops. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nope, not at all. It was so, like, I was super impressed.
I like what he said in the post fight too. If it's too much for the people, then maybe you're watching the wrong sport.
Go back to soccer.
Yeah.
I love that. Go back to soccer. This got to put Jorge Masvidal in title contention. Like it's got to be the next fight. I can't be more excited for the opportunity for him to face. Why can't I say his name? Kamaru Usman. I think these two guys are perfectly matched up for each other, to the point where I don't think I could pick a victor in that fight. When that fight comes up, if and when that fight comes up, I say right now that I'm not going to pick a winner because that fight is going to be awesome.
Right. It's hard to judge what they, you know, might do because, you know, you still got Colby Covington right there, and, you know, so we don't know exactly if George goes right to the title shot. I think he should.
Well, here's the thing.
You know,
we got to understand where it's coming from. It's coming from a guy like Dana White. He's going to ride this wave.
Yeah.
Dana White necessarily isn't about #1 contention. He's about what's going to bring pay-per-view buys. Right. And if you say the guy who had a 5-second knockout is facing the champ for the belt, it's going to be more important than if you say Colby Covington is getting a title shot. Even though I love Colby Covington.
Or even having George fight Colby for the, you know, for the #1 contender. I mean, that might be the best way to find the overall best fighter to fight Usman, you know, and Covington might deserve that, you know, from holding the interim strap, but you know, it's tough with the interim title holder sometimes, you know, where the champ gets injured, he can't defend it, and then you get an interim champion, but then he gets injured and he can't fight the champion when it comes time. And then, you know, another contender comes up, fights a champion, takes the belt, and now the interim champion's lying and waiting. It's a whole big thing.
Yeah.
You know,
I guess we'll see what happens.
Same thing happened middleweight, you know, with Whitaker, and it's, you know, it makes a whole crazy thing.
Yeah, it definitely.
And now you got to sort through the contenders, like just at middleweight, the same thing. But you know, whether they have him fight Colby Covington or whether he goes right to Usman, I mean, either one.
Either one. I want to see him go straight to Usman.
I do think that's the money-making fight.
Yeah, it's the money-making fight, and Dana White is all about money-making and the best possible matchup, and I think that's what happens. I think they fight each other for the belt, and then the winner faces Colby Covington for the belt. Colby Covington's going to get his shot, but Dana White's going to ride this wave.
Right. Covington still deserves his shot because of his, you know, time holding the interim strap, but, you know, Masvidal earned it.
Yeah, he did.
In the best way possible.
And hats off to Masvidal for also earning performance of the night.
Oh, absolutely.
So that was really good. And actually, they gave
when
it
you
to...
can win that with one strike,
yeah.
too.
One strike ends the fight. And also, Blachowicz also got performance of the night.
Very nice.
So those guys got bonuses. Now on to what I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't actually read it, but I'm just going to call it Fight of the Night. Amanda Nunes versus Holly Holmes. And this fight was awesome. It was everything you thought it was going to be. And I think that it was just a perfect cementation of Amanda Nunes's legacy.
Absolutely. Since we've had these two weight class champions, I've always said what will really impress me is to see them defend these belts, while holding two titles.
Yep.
And this is an incredible moment. I think she needs more press, honestly, for
Way
what she's
more
done.
press.
I don't understand why she's not over every, sports syndicated television show, radio show. I mean, it's amazing to me, honestly.
I agree with you. I think it's a huge slap in the face to Amanda Nunes, but I also want to say that it's probably the thing that's just driving her even harder, like knowing that she is probably the second best champ the UFC's ever had. You got to put Jones up at number one because he's the best mixed martial artist the UFC in the world has ever seen. But Amanda Nunes is the best female we've ever seen. And I think that, the fact that she's not a beauty queen, the girl next door, and she has an accent, and her accent and everything. But the thing, I think Amanda Nunes is filled with character.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that everything about her separates her from everybody else. I think she's extremely marketable, and I think
she's super charismatic.
Yeah,
super funny. She always got a smile on
yeah,
her face.
always.
Maybe not the beauty queen, but I think she's a pretty woman.
She is,
and
especially when she's not fighting. When she's dolled up,
absolutely.
Amanda Nunes is actually very pretty. She we talked about it. I feel like she's kind of like a mix between Michelle Rodriguez and America Ferrara. She's definitely a pretty woman.
Got a street style with a little bit of beauty queen in there. A little bit. You've seen her in with a little makeup, little high heels here.
And you know what? Like they found a way to make Joanna Jędrzejczyk look relatively attractive. You can find a way to market Amanda Nunes.
And who cares? She's winning.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. I don't care if she's the ugliest woman in the world, because you better believe if Chris Cyborg was this dominant, she would get that press because of how big and crazy she looks and she is. But Amanda Nunes is not getting her just
deserved. They could market the muscles on Cyborg's body more than Amanda Nunes's, character. That's crazy.
It is crazy. She's definitely not getting the respect she deserves, and it's definitely sad to see it go that way. But at the end of the day, she's the one who gets the last laugh because she's taking victories and cementing her place as the best women's mixed martial artist that's ever existed. I mean.
Fantastic win. Holly looked pretty good.
She
Coming out, something that gets me with her. I think her skill set is great, but she looks a little nervous most times. But she looked pretty good. Had the nerves settled. She was moving well. But Amanda Nunes just, she cut off her angles good. Yeah. She knew Holly was going to circle away from the right hand, and being a lefty, she had to make Holly go the other way so she could land something from the right side.
Yeah.
And I got to give her technique of the week for that high kick.
Oh, yes.
Because it's not something we see too much in her arsenal. But it was a perfect hit turn, perfect placement, and like I said, she cut off the angle because she had Holly circling to her right the whole time, but she had to make her circle to the left, and she started cutting her off with left hands and masterfully made her move to her right where Holly's the most uncomfortable. Southpaw is not comfortable moving to her left, rather, where she's open straight down the middle, and the big roundhouse came up top. I think it looked like she thought it was going to be a body kick. It looked like she was coming in for a strike when she got hit with the kick too. Devastating knockout.
It was great. I mean, it came flush to the top of the foot, right against the side of her head. Beautiful connection, and then I felt like it could have been over there, but then she comes in and Holly's not defending, just trying to hold her, just trying to keep her away from her face. She takes 3 or 4 more bombs, and it was good night, Holly Holmes. I'm super impressed with Holly Holmes as a fighter, her physique, her dedication to fighting, but I do kind of agree with Dana White. You've become a hump fighter. It might be time to move on to the next stage of your life, or the other option is to move on to Bellator or to one where you have a better chance of becoming a champ.
Yeah, she's been, competing in combat sports so many years now.
37.
She's been in hundreds of fights, throughout her boxing career and now mixed martial arts. So, she got no more to prove.
Nothing.
I don't think, she's done a great job. She's helped usher in a new era of women's mixed martial arts, showing how elite women can fight.
And she was the giant killer.
And she was.
The original defeater of the force that was Ronda Rousey, which was all she ever needed to prove. So she's been a champ in the UFC. I definitely think it's time to put that, take her hat off, hang it up.
With no shame.
No shame at all. She's definitely a Hall of Famer.
Held high, absolutely.
Yeah. So this was an impressive TKO victory, and in the first round, as typical Amanda Nunes fashion. And I can't imagine the only thing I can think of is her next fight has to be the winner of this fight between this next UFC with Aspen Ladd going up against what's her name, Jermaine Dami or whatever. Whoever wins that fight, because they're in the upper weight class, so maybe they get a chance at her. But right now, it seems like nobody can stop it.
I agree that would be the highest contenders in the featherweight class, right? I believe it is. And I don't see that either of them are a threat to her.
No. And there's always the possibility of a rematch with Cyborg, which is a fight that I'd still like to see. I mean, yeah, she dominated Chris Cyborg, but Chris Cyborg goes to the drawing board, realizes what she did wrong, and maybe we see a different fight, maybe a longer fight, maybe we see a random Chris Cyborg victory. But I think that's also another fight I would like to see is the rematch, to see how can Chris Cyborg recover and regroup and re-strategize, or do we just see another devastating victory?
I think, Cyborg and Nunes too could be a great fight, and it might have to happen eventually if Cyborg keeps winning,
Exactly. So we'll see what happens there, but this was another impressive performance from Amanda Nunes, and I can't wait to see what she does next. It's going to just be a smorgasbord of bodies dropping.
I don't know if you've seen the Twitter picture she posted while she was in the shower at the hotel.
Yes,
with the belts hanging on,
and they cover her butt.
Was pretty nice.
That was, and that goes to show you that.
How can you not market this?
Yeah, man, like she knows how to sell. She sells herself enough. It's crazy that they're not marketing her, because you have the most talented woman in the world.
And how good did the old belt look next to the new belt?
I don't know if we talked about
so
that,
upsetting.
But we absolutely here on Tail of the Tape hate this new belt. It looks like a cheap toy, and we want the old belt back, or a new, better looking belt, because this belt looks like it came off SoundCloud.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's terrible. All right, and now we have the main event: Bones Jones versus Thiago Santos, and color me impressed. Thiago Santos was not given his just respect before this fight happened, and I have more respect for Thiago Santos than I could ever have.
Yeah, I gotta eat my words a little bit. I mean, I was impressed with his striking ability. I knew he was a high-level Muay Thai fighter, I'm not exactly sure what John Jones means saying he was a Muay Thai black belt,
Oh, because there's no belts.
But, equivalent.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he meant. High level, But fantastic movement, fantastic ability to kick. The knee injury that maybe happened, say, second round?
I think it initiated end of first round, but became a factor in the second round.
I couldn't believe how tough he was. You could see his lack of movement. You could see it buckling on him when he would try to throw a kick. It was the left knee,
Even though he
I
kept
believe.
throwing it.
And it seemed to hurt less to throw the kick than it was to throw the punch.
Yeah.
I believe stepping into the punch was giving him problems, because
Which disallowed him to finish his attacks.
absolutely. He looked real good. It was hard for Jones to find range. It seemed because Thiago was fighting as a counter striker. He wanted Jones to come in.
Yep.
And he was landing power. I know Jones's legs are beat up.
Oh, and they both left in wheelchairs.
Oh yeah, they both beat up.
So the thing to me that was most impressive is that if Thiago Santos does not hurt his knee, I feel like we get a different decision in this fight.
Absolutely could be.
You can't say for certain.
John Jones with the split decision victory, but if one judge gave it to Santos anyways,
Yes.
I mean, what happens if his knee isn't hurt and he puts together more punches, puts together more kicks?
Maybe we see a Jones, and that's the side. That's like the flip side is like, yeah, maybe if his knee doesn't get hurt, like he ends up dominating and he gets to finish his combinations, but Jones knowing he's injured, Jones knowing that he can only do so much, he fights a certain way. Maybe if he sees himself losing, we see a different, more aggressive Jones in that fight. I don't know, but I feel like that knee injury stopped Thiago Santos from stealing the belt.
Possibly. If the knee, obviously, if he didn't injure himself, he'd be a different fighter. He could have put together more offense. However, I think that would change Jones as well. I think this was a reserved fight for Jones. It was kind of pretty similar to the Gedalia fight.
Yeah.
He was trying to fight real smart because he knew the big power was a problem. You get hit by one of those punches and you're going to go to sleep. Any of those big head kicks that he was throwing, even after his leg was injured, will put you to bed. And he was being real respectful of that. And that's smart. I mean, why you want to lose that when you had such a great career? Why you want to lose like that?
Yeah.
But I think if Thiago had not injured himself and put on more offense, then Jones would have to fight different.
Yeah,
he would have had to came out of the shell a little more.
Correct.
Because at times he was really really good. I don't think it should have been a split decision personally.
Oh, I didn't agree with a split decision. It did not make sense to me. I felt like Jones had he controlled the octagon, the center of the octagon. I felt like he definitely had, he was definitely making more significant strikes. I felt like he was landing better. Thiago Santos definitely was aggressive and definitely put his shots in and beat that leg to holy hell. But I definitely think that Jones was the clear victor of this fight. But I'm really upset that we didn't get to see 100% Thiago Santos, because I do agree with you, and that's why I had to say it, was that Jones would have adjusted, because we know Jones is not a slouch. Yeah. He's the best in the world, and he fought the fight that he had to fight to maintain his title, and he gave Thiago Santos the respect that he deserved.
And I mean, how much of the strikes to the legs was really affecting him? It takes away from his game too, so it looks maybe like a lackluster win, but it's a smart win.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a smart win. And I mean, the one thing I did like is, Jones tried to throw in some highlights. He had that big flying knee, and
he was, throwing his spinning elbows in there like always. And he there was at one point, I think maybe it was the fourth round, where, yes, Santos's leg was pretty gone, but he was moving pretty well still. But Jones started putting combinations on him, and he really started opening up. The split decision really confused me, actually.
It definitely, I don't see how anybody would have given Thiago Santos that fight. It did not make sense to me that you could give him more than even 2 rounds. Right. There definitely were rounds that I think went to. I think he won the first round.
Absolutely
won the first round. But Jones definitely came in and
there's an argument for round 2 as well.
Yes,
but round 1, without a doubt, he took from Jones.
Yeah. So. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be a year and a half before we see Thiago Santos fight again. If we even get to see him fight again, he didn't just tear his ACL. I think he tore his MCL and another ligament. That's a lot to come back from.
Complete rupture too, not just like a tear. He severed it completely from the other side. So I mean, that's a major surgery, major recovery, at least probably a year. And who knows if he'll be the same. It's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame.
And like Joe Rogan was saying, though, like during the whole fight, who knows if he, was pre-existing and he's been training with it.
They were talking about a fighter who fought for over a year.
Things like that happen if it's just a tear. But then you end up with a rupture because, you wanted to fight with that.
Yeah.
But, if I had an ACL tear and they said you can fight the champ, then I'll fight him.
I'll fight the champ. Yeah, exactly.
So I get it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I have to give a huge hats off to Thiago Santos. I want to thank him for just putting on...
What an entertaining fight.
Completely entertaining and just a valiant effort, the heart of a lion. And... if we do get to see him again, I am super excited to see what he can bring to the table.
Yeah, I hope all goes well for him, and I'd love to see him back. But as long as his leg is okay.
All right, so that was the event. If you missed this fight, I definitely recommend trying to catch it again. If you have the ESPN Plus, they definitely re-show those things. But this was an awesome pay-per-view. A lot of finishes, a lot of great exchanges. This was a pay-per-view to be remembered, and I look forward to seeing all those fighters fight again.
Yeah, it'd be hard to top that one.
Yeah. So next we have a fight night, UFC fight night, Day Randami versus Ladd, Saturday, July 13th at 8 p.m. at the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California. And we want to jump right into that. We're going to start right from the bottom, try to bang out as many of these as possible before the time runs out. I'm not sure how much time we have left.
I think we're running close.
We're running close, so we're going to try to knock them out. We have the first fight, Benito Lopez, 9-1, going up against Martin Day, 9-3. Who do you got?
Morales, because he's power advantage.
Yeah, I think Benito definitely takes this one. I like him. Next, we have Lavinha Souza, 13-1, going up against Brianna Van Buren. And I think in the women's strawweight division, I like the 13-1 record, so I got to go with Souza.
I agree, too. Out of 13 wins, she got 10 stops, 8 by submission. So yeah,
wow, 8 by submission. Mm-hmm. That looks real good. Men's bantamweight division, we have Liu Pingyan, 15-4, going up against the 10-2 Jonathan Martinez. Who do you like?
I think I'm going to go with Liu on this one. He's got good submissions, and Martinez got bad takedown defense.
And I 100% agree with you on this one as well. And then we move on to the men's featherweight division. We have Darren Elkins going 24-7, going up against Ryan Hall, 7-1. And I have to pick Ryan Hall. I think Ryan Hall is a master at his craft, and I can't believe that he's not higher up on the card.
I totally agree. Elkins, I don't think he deserves to fight him. Lost to Volkanovski, lost to Ricardo Lamas, the last fight out by ground and pound, vicious ground and pound. So, wow, Ryan Hall all the way.
Yeah, Ryan Hall. I mean, this is one of the few fights
they're matched up.
Yeah, I'm really surprised how far down he is on this card. But I always like to see Ryan Hall fight. He's very impressive.
Fighting a fighter coming off of 2 decisive losses.
Yeah, maybe they're just trying to feed Ryan Hall to keep him busy.
Perhaps.
All right, the next fight on the card is one of the fights I'm most excited about. My homegirl, Nico Montano, is coming back, 4-2 record. She was actually the featherweight champ. She was the first featherweight champ. Flyweight champ, thank you very much. She had the title stripped from her due to an injury. But also, and she's the Ultimate Fighter winner, going up against another Ultimate Fighter winner, Juliana Pena, who had a 2-year layoff due to a leg injury.
Right, hasn't fought since January 2017.
Wow, that's a long layoff.
A year and 2.5. Like, wow. You know.
And if you don't remember Juliana Pena, she is a hardcore, aggressive fighter, vicious striking. She does have good takedowns.
Yeah.
And Nico Montana, very good leg kicker, very strong fighter. I think this is an excellent matchup, and I think whoever wins this fight is definitely going to be fighting for possible title contention.
I agree. It's hard to call. I think whoever wins the grappling exchanges, especially, I think Montana definitely needs to win the grappling exchanges to win this fight.
Yeah, I actually have Juliana Pena winning this fight.
I think so too.
Yeah, I loved her so much before she left the UFC.
Depending on whether she's still in shape and whether she's still the same fighter or better.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to see what happens there. We have next the men's featherweight division, Andre Fili, 19-6, going up against Shaymon Morales, 11-13. What do you think?
Fili, decision fighter, last 6 wins by decision. Morales, Muay Thai fighter with power, but tends to not use it enough. Sits back. I'm going to say Fili probably gets another decision here.
All right, well, I'd like to split that up for the first time in all of our picks, and I'm going to go with Shaymon Morales, 13-3. That's a low loss record, so I kind of like that. In the men's lightweight division, we have Mike Rodriguez, 10-3, going up against Josh Allen, 13-5. I think Mike Rodriguez takes this fight.
Yeah. He's had mixed luck in the UFC. He's 1-2, 1 out of 2. Lost a decision and finished his other opponent.
Okay.
So his opponent here, though, is stepping in on 1 week notice.
Wow.
And he is 5-1 in his last 6 fights. So this is an interesting fight.
This is an interesting fight. Wow. All right. Well, we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, it's a hard one to call.
Yeah,
I'll probably
definitely.
go with Rodriguez on that, though.
All right. We got 2 for Rodriguez. Men's middleweight division, we have Marvin Vettori, 12-4, going up against Cesar Ferreira, 13-7. Middleweight division, what do we think about this fight?
Ferreira is a little past his prime. A little 34, but still kind of rising in the skills. Still getting better all the time. Vettori, don't really like. I did like him at first. He's a top prospect out of Italy, but he's been out for a failed drug test from supplement, tainted supplement or whatever. They're good fighters. They're both lost to big name fighters.
Okay.
So this could be a good one, but I gotta go with Ferreira on this.
All right. I had chosen Vettori, so I'll stick with my decision, even though I think you might be right about what you said, and Cesar might take this, but just to keep the split, I'll stick with Vettori. And then next, we have Carl Robertson, 7-2, who was previously fighting at light heavyweight. In this fight, he makes his middleweight debut, going up against Wellington Turman, 15-2. And I picked Carl Robertson. I think dropping down in weight class is going to give him an advantage.
I think it definitely gives him an advantage because he had power at light heavyweight. So, I mean, power, so if he's got that power at middleweight or more, then that's a threat. Turman, though, is 22 years old, young buck, and he's got 4 wins in a row.
In the UFC?
I don't believe all in the UFC, but 4 in general.
So yeah, on a 4-fight win streak. Okay.
So it's another interesting one, but I think that power advantage might come through for Robertson. So
sounds good.
Yeah.
Next fight is a fight that I'm actually excited for. The men's featherweight division, Josh Emmett, 14-2, going up against Mirsad Bektik, 13-1. So both these guys have a low loss record. What I like, I picked Josh Emmett because I liked what happened with him against Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson started off picking him apart. Josh Emmett weathered the storm and took over that fight handedly against Michael Johnson.
Yeah, he's definitely in form. Over his last 3 fights, I would say. He lost 2 fights ago, he had a loss, but he looked good, and then he's won his last 2 in a row by knockout, I think.
Yeah.
And Yeah, he's on a tear, so look for him to win. Although this guy, Bektic, I think he's how you pronounce it. He's big and strong for featherweight, but I don't know. Yeah, Emmett's probably the better bet here.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Next on next on this card is an interesting bout in the bantamweight division. Uriah Faber makes his return to the octagon and the UFC after a 2-year retirement layoff. He's coming back. I'm excited to see what he has in store. 34-10. You know, when I saw that record, I'm like, wow. 34-10. That's for a guy who's been fighting as long as Uriah Faber. I mean, that's a decent record.
And 10 losses over 44 fights. That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
I wouldn't be mad.
And he's going up against the rising star in Ricky Simmons, 15-1.
Yeah, Ricky's all offense completely. I mean, he's got no kind of defense, honestly. So if Uriah wants to make a one last run at a title shot, this is a guy to start with, probably. Yeah, I think this is his
Do we
best
think
bet.
that there's even a possibility Uriah Faber can make a title run?
We'll see when he steps in the cage, what kind of Uriah we'll see. He's fought last in 2016, I believe.
Yes.
And didn't look great, but, he's a great, well-rounded fighter, and he could win this.
I think he could win this fight, and I'll never not want to see a Uriah Faber fight. He's definitely one of my favorite fighters of all time, and he's always exciting to watch. And I think this is I don't think this is about title contention. I think this is what he loves, and he just can't stay away from it. I think his need for combat is bigger than his need for leisure time.
Yeah, I agree.
So this could be one of those fight of the nights, where Uriah Faber comes out full of gas and full of confidence against a guy who you said likes to throw out all offense. This could be an very impressive fight. So I'm excited to see what happens. And then finally on the card, the main event, Jermaine Durandamy going up against the 8-0 Aspen Ladd. And I think that I don't like Jermaine because I think that she ran from Chris Cyborg when she won the title. So I'm going to give it to Aspen Ladd.
I agree. Aspen Ladd's a better fighter anyways. All pressure. Super strong. Super bully. Maybe nothing too flashy about her. Just real crisp and real strong.
Yeah. All right. So that's the card. Make sure we check it out July 13th, 8 p.m. Until then, check out our YouTube channel, Gym Bag Entertainment. Same for our website. Check out all of our social media accounts. Until next week, we'll see you in the octagon.
Peace.
Have a good night.